FightNewz.
Episode of Fight News, and on this one, we are doing a film study on Lopez versus Lomachenko. Lomachenko versus Lopez, I'm sorry. Next one will be Lopez versus Lomachenko. And shout out to Simon H. because this was his idea. He said that since there's a lot of different films, a lot of different opinions on the films, on the, sorry, tongue's all tied up. Since there's a lot of different opinions on the score and everything, that we should do a study on it. And the first thing I'm going to start off by saying is that if anyone knows the size difference between these two, put it in the comment section, because I'm not sure, and I don't see a huge size difference. They don't really look that much different between the two, between me. And I know one of the excuses that's come out now was he says the size difference. Lomachenko says the reach and the size difference. But let's go look at some of his other opponents. Let's look at Campbell. All right. Let's look at. Let's look at him. All right. So Pedraza's like bigger than all these guys. And before the fight, let's think about this now. Before the fight, it was just that his size, it was his power, his size. But but it clearly shows that he's fought guys that are bigger in size. I think the attitude was a big thing about it, but I don't think the size. And another thing about the power, and another thing about the size. The reason I don't think it had a lot to do with just the size is that he's got Joey Gamache in his corner. Lopez has got Joey Gamache in there, and I just don't think that Joey Gamache would have anything to do with that. Like watching like a bigger guy knock out a little bit after what happened with him and Arturo Gatti. I don't know. Maybe. I don't think so. But I decided what we should do is we're gonna run the highlights, and we're just gonna talk about it, what we saw and everything from the fight. And we'll pretty much see it through the highlights and everything while talking through it. One of the first things that I noticed was Lopez's jab and the distance control. The jab, the way he used the jab, he used 3 different jabs in this fight. He used the jab to use like a power jab to back Loma off. He used like a feint and then like a pawing jab just like to see where he's at, just to to keep him at bay. And then he had like a hook and a jab, like just when he wanted like to move out the way and all this kind of stuff. Every time he when he would pivot, he would throw the hook, then he would throw a jab too, and he would throw an uppercut. So it was almost like he was staying real busy, and he was staying like right in the in the pocket of where Loma usually shines at. But yeah, so he had multiple jabs. He showed like 3 or 4 different jabs. Then he was staying active with the jab. But then distance control was good. His distance control was almost like that with we saw with Charlo and Derevyanchenko. And it was on point. He was, or like with Mikey and Spence. The distance control was a big thing with it. I don't know why here's I want to say that. The distance control was just like his distance control he's had with most of the people he's fought. But the difference is the people that he's fought, normally his feet are way better than. And he's got the intimidation on a lot of guys. Lopez wasn't really intimidated because I think he cracked the code that knowing that Loma doesn't have a big left hand to really worry about. It's just the right hand. If you could take the right hand, because he's not a real southpaw. We'll come back to that. But the third thing was his pivoting. Lopez's pivoting was on point. Like, and that was a big thing. That was an issue. I thought that was gonna be an issue because I saw like a video one time where Lopez was dancing and he was pivoting, and I was like, if he brings that out in this fight, this is gonna be a problem. And you gotta think about it, he's a younger kid. This was always a dangerous fight, but it wasn't a dangerous fight for the reason people think it was. They'd be like, "Oh man, it's just the power." No, it's a dangerous fight because you're fighting like a younger kid who's not like scared of you and everything. But the number four, let's say it was the power. The power, and it was the subtle power. It was the power of him like just what's called swiping downstairs, or just what's called bopping, or what's called hitting them upstairs, cracking them, or what's called around the side. Like even when stuff wasn't landing flush, like it was you could tell like it was making Loma think, like it was keeping him at bay. He was keeping him scared for those first rounds, and even times like he would like knock his guard down and stuff. So the power was real, and I think like the power was more. Sometimes the power is mental, because like I think like since everyone's been talking about Lopez power, since everyone's been like dogging the power up, Lomachenko was so scared to get hit by the power that he was he's just determined. And then when he finally did get hit with it, I mean he was like overreacting. It seemed like, I mean, maybe he was about to be gone. I don't know. Y'all let me know that too. I mean, it seemed like he was overreacting to everything that was called the Lopez threw. But another thing was his courage. Like he showed no respect, and he didn't mind. He didn't care about getting hit. That was a really big thing. The really big issue that I know was gonna happen with Loma with this guy. He didn't care about taking one to land one, and that was always gonna be a problem for Loma. You know, he's not gonna get tired and to be all scared with your fancy footwork and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? He's coming to fight. You know what I mean? So the body work just paid dividends for him. And you know what I mean? He would stand right there, right in front of him, and just he was using the same mental draining that Lomachenko usually has on other people. He was using that on Lomachenko. That's like the crazy part about this whole fight. Now, the things that Loma needed to work on was he wasted a lot of energy in the beginning with all that moving, that because he usually doesn't move like that. If you like those like most Lomachenko fights, he moved a lot of excessive amount of moving that he was doing in the beginning of this fight. And I don't think he was really, like I'm saying, I'm never gonna call a fighter scared. I think he was just a little apprehensive about getting hit when everyone's saying, like I said, maybe he like before the fight, you saw he was almost psyching himself out when he was saying, "Oh, look at his triceps and biceps, three sides bigger than mine." You know, he was already telling himself. We saw this happen with Michael Spinks and Mike Tyson. But Lomachenko just did it another way where he was like, I'm just not even going to get hit. I'm going to stay away from this kid. But another thing is he didn't do enough inside fighting. And when he cracked the code with Lopez. He actually cracked the code. He started roughing him up, but then he just didn't go back to it, and that's would have been the sign of a good pound for pound. If he was really pound for pound number one, if he would have recognized that, and he would have turned that on, because Lopez didn't have any answers for the inside fighting when he turned that on with him. Like when he was crowding him, but it was almost like he was scared to crowd him. So that's the thing that I thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to be doing more like inside fighting from him being the smaller guy, but he didn't do that. And another thing that's shocking about it, he didn't counter a lot. You know, out of all the times that we've seen him, normally he's able to counter. And he's able like to swipe guys, swipe their jab down and hit him with the right hand, but he wasn't doing any of that. He was just in the beginning he wasn't countering at all. He was making Lopez miss a lot, but he wasn't making him pay at all. Um, what's the next one? Oh, he didn't invest in the body a lot, which I thought he was gonna do with Lopez, knowing that he hadn't gone a lot of rounds a lot, knowing that he was a young big kid. I thought he was gonna. What I thought Lomachenko was gonna do, I thought he was gonna be grabbing Lopez. I thought this was gonna be Kovalev Ward. You know what I mean? Where he's grabbing this big guy and he's grabbing him and punching him and just wearing him down. That's really the only kind of way uh, a smaller guy can beat a bigger guy, when the bigger guy is a little bit faster. Because to what it seemed like, well, I can't, I really can't even tell if Lopez was faster than Lomachenko, because Lomachenko really didn't give us a chance to see. You know what I mean? Because he waited till the end. But even at what, and then even at that point, in the 12th round, I guess we can say that Lopez maybe is a little bit faster than Lomachenko, because in the 12th he took it to him. And they were both on about the same level at that point, and he wasn't. And Lopez won the exchanges. But yeah, I thought he was going to invest in the body more. I thought he was going to wear Lopez down. I thought he was going to wear him down through the 6 rounds and then try to drown him. I didn't know he was just going to try to make him dizzy, circle around him for 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds and then try to do something. I don't know who came up with that plan. This is the guy that y'all give Trainer of the Year. Number 5 is he didn't do anything new. And that was a big problem with this. With him being, labeled as the number 1, and I hate to keep saying that, and I hate to keep it saying like I'm coming down on Lomachenko. He let me down because I thought that he was going to. I thought if he was going to beat Lopez, that it was going to be in dominant fashion, like everyone said, like he was going to embarrass the kid, but he didn't. He thought he didn't. But it's almost like Lopez has been practicing has been training and been stalking Lomachenko for 2 or 3 years now. You gotta do something new if this guy's been on you for that long. If he's, you know what I mean? The greats come out with something new at times like that. We've seen Tyson Fury. He had to come up with something new to stop Wilder. You know what I mean? For AJ, he had to come with something new to beat Ruiz. You know what I mean? Who else we thought about? He didn't even impose his will. You know what I mean? Because we'll say it's in some instances we'll say the more skilled boxer, the more skilled the smaller guy, he at least imposed his will. Like Mayweather actually imposed his will on a bigger man. You know what I mean? And I just saw Chocolatito impose his will on a bigger man. But he's bigger than him. They weren't jogging away. They weren't trying to get away from him. They were into the fight. They were trying to take it to the younger man, and that's the way they were going to drown him. They weren't going to let cardio be a factor. You know what I mean? I'm seeing that some people, they're saying that it started by the 7th. Some people were giving the Lomachenko the 2nd. First off, if you turn the commentary off, the Judy Lerman's card isn't that crazy, okay? And I hate to say that, you know what I mean? I hate to say that, but it's true. Loma didn't do anything. I know people that were giving Loma the 2nd round. If you don't listen to the commentary, it doesn't seem like he's winning. It doesn't seem like he's winning the 7th, 8th, 9th, or the 10th, or the 11th. Or maybe the 11th, he might have nicked it. But he throwing a few punches at the end of the round doesn't say that you won the fight or that you won the round. Some people trying to say that Loma won the fight. Now that is crazy. You got to be a diehard fan to say something like that. So some people saying it's a draw. Some people really wanted them to give this kid the draw. Think of that. Now this is If we're wondering what's going on with boxing right now, we want them to rob a kid right now. Rob a kid. And let's talk about those headbutts, okay? In every single Lomachenko fight, he's fought, the Orthodox versus Southpaw. Usually in fights with Orthodox versus Southpaw, you do hear about some headbutts, okay? So that's how he disguised it. But Lomachenko has never had any headbutts in any other fight. This one, he had the blatant ones anytime he was getting in trouble. Come on now. Some people say it was a clash. No, that was a blatant headbutt, and he was doing it so much to where Lopez was complaining. That Lopez was telling the referee. I remember there was a point in the fight. I think if we go to, like the 8th or the 7th round, where Lopez is. They're saying that Lopez is complaining about the inside fighting. He's not complaining about the inside fighting. He's complaining about the headbutts. Blatant headbutts. Lone was. We can say that he did learn something from Salido. I used to say that he didn't learn anything but from Salido, but we can say that he did. Now, that might be a reason that Judy Letterman didn't, give him the scores on some of these rounds, because the only damage that Lopez really had was from the headbutts. This is from the cuts from the headbutts. Loma didn't really beat the kid up. He didn't to be a pound for pound champion. He didn't really put it on the kid the way they tried to say he did. You know what I mean? When you listen to it without the sound, the kid seems like he's dominating. It's no surprise that whatever rounds that the commentators are saying the Lomachenko won, that's the same ones that everyone else is agreeing on. And anyone else that says anything else is crazy. Come on. But back to it, yes, I think that's always going to be a problem for Lomachenko's style. It's anyone that can pivot and anyone that can, combination punch. It's not really combination punch. So Lopez had he was combination punching almost like the way Trinidad used to, where he's throwing the same punches, but he's got like a slower rhythm to him. You know what I mean? But he always throws he always ends with the hook. So anyone that can really do that, anyone that can always stay on point, stay alive, make sure they stay in Lomachenko's face, is going to be a problem for him. I don't think it's the power. I think it was just the clean boxing. It was the scare tactic of getting hit. Lopez didn't back up a lot. And this is the same thing we saw when we saw the Triple G and Canelo fight. Those 1 and 2 fights look a lot different. I mean, Triple G seems a lot more scary and a lot more fierce when the person's moving backwards. But when the person's standing right in front of him, he doesn't seem that tough. Same thing with Lomachenko. When the person's not moving backwards, like a Luke Campbell or a Pedraza or Linares, they don't seem to be doing too good. You know what I mean? When you back that, Lopez wasn't afraid to back him up. Lopez wasn't afraid to. He was going to the body well. He was investing good to the body, and we all know Loma does not like it to the body. I've always said that. I always said so the person who goes down to his body a lot is always going to beat him. Lomachenko does not like it to the body. In the Campbell fight, in the Pedraza fight, in multiple fights, he'll get hit, and he'll say that he's going low. I mean, now I know, yes, in the Salida fight, yes, he did get hit low. But not all the shots were low that he said that were low. some of those shots weren't low that he started complaining about. And that's a little trick that Loma does. And I think that maybe a lot of people that the Lopez realized that I'm not going to get knocked out by this guy. You know, I think that's the whole thing that Lopez said. I can take this guy. I can take his punch. You know what I mean? If I got my endurance good, I don't got to worry about getting knocked out by this guy. You know what I mean? Because the thing about Loma is that he doesn't have the big left hand. He's almost like Michael Moore. Remember, Michael Moore wasn't actually a southpaw. You know, Michael Moore was converted southpaw to where he used the right hand as the jab, and he's using that, his dominant hand as his jab. But now you don't have anything to back anyone up with. You don't have a big left hand, so there's no big firepower. You know, I think that's something they realized. I don't think it was the power and the size that people are saying. I think it was the lack of respect. You know, it was the good boxing, clean boxing skills, and the lack of respect that this kid had. You know, and then we got the passing of a throne, and I think people need to, you know, don't write this kid off. We gotta embrace this kid. You know, boxing needs this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And what else? And that's about it. You know what I mean? I'm working on another documentary right now, and I'll have that out to y'all. You know, share this, subscribe, you know, like the video, and I'll see y'all next time.